Alrighty, welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. This is True Crime in the Morning. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. My friends call me Sleuth. Today we will be discussing the Benjamin Anderson case. This case is out of Phoenix, Arizona, December of 2021. Welcome back, Speculation Station, to members. Good to see you. We'll get going here in just a few minutes. Usually I like to give about 10 minutes to give everybody an opportunity to show up and be present. Now, this case is going to be another mind-melting mystery. And hopefully, after I present all the facts of the case and everything that I know about it and everything that I could dig up, I mean, I really need some help on this one, guys. I need your help to come up with some kind of theory. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm just about the 10 minutes before we went live, I was able to put together some thoughts, but I'm going to need your help on this one. What's up, Jerry? Good morning. What are you up to? Joe Moser. Good to see you. How are you? Shadowbox. Night Shadow. What's going on, everybody? All right. So I think this case has been covered. I think Grizzly True Crime covered this quite a bit. I think one of her videos she pulled down, but she did some good coverage on this. I'm not sure if Gray Hughes did anything on the Benjamin Anderson case. He may have, but it doesn't seem to be getting much attention. And I think I'm going to be reaching out to Maricopa County, see if we can get some answers from them at some point later today, maybe shortly after the live stream. I would like to get the police report. I think I can look up the coroner's report here live, actually. Figure out how to do that. What's going on, Night Shadow? How are you? So I figure we'll start with an article. This is one of the more recent articles. It has a lot of the information, a lot of follow-up information. This was by Sinak Sengupta. He put this out May 4th. Everything that you see in today's live stream, if you want to go follow up and watch it yourself, the links are in the description. If you were wondering. So I think while we read this, I took a screenshot from Ben's memorial. Towards the end of it, they played a kind of like a tribute video, and it had tons of photos on there. So I screen grabbed that. I think we'll watch this, and then I'll read this article at the same time. Hey, what's up, Marsh? So yeah, I'm going to need your help on this one. Usually I can kind of come up with a quick theory, something that stands out to me. You know, like, oh, it was most likely this or that. Well, I mean, I do kind of have one. We'll get to that. So this would have been New Year's Day. Early in the morning, Ben begins canceling all of his plans. So something came up. Something came up early in the morning. Cancels his plans and then doesn't show up at all later on in the day. And then once his best friends go to check on him, they kind of find his apartment was left in unusual standings, I guess. Peculiar, I think was a word used. What's up, Phil Bond? 517 Kells. Get to the chopper. What's up, Chopper Harris? Good to see you. Okay. Another thing that I gathered is he loves to help people, especially if he saw somebody who was maybe homeless or looked hungry, down and out. He would stop everything he's doing and go help those people or that person. That could be dangerous. You know, behold, I send you out as sheep amidst the wolves. Mar R, what's up? And Wanda from Missouri. Okay, so he cancels all his plans New Year's Day, doesn't show up with all of his friends New Year's Eve night, and is found New Year's Day very early in the morning, I believe at 4 a.m., about 30 to a 40-minute drive outside of Phoenix, outside of the town where people like to go four-wheeling, target hunt, target shooting, stuff like that. He was found basically in a wash. It's kind of like a wash at the bottom of a small ravine. Looks like somebody pushed him off the edge and then burned him. Later, his vehicle would be found not far from where he lived, and also where police and Lexus were able to track the vehicle to a Super 8 motel. So they were able to track it there, and then the friends went looking around that area for the vehicle, spotted it, got into a somewhat of a little chase with the vehicle, became dangerous, and they stopped. Later on, they would find the vehicle burned in that same area. So they obviously had an accelerant. So I'm going to try to lay out all these facts the best I can. I have 4 videos, 3 articles, timeline. We're going to do a lot tracing all these addresses that I was able to track down. It took me quite a while to get this list, so we'll spend some time on that. We'll get going here in about a minute. Oh, nice. You got the week off. That's great. Yeah, shout out to the captain. It's a good friend of mine. True Crime Jesus have made a comeback this week. Oh, I didn't know True Crime Jesus was back. Mar R says, dang, poor guy. Yeah, so he's a really smart guy, bachelor's degree, successful, lived in an okay neighborhood, but it looked like it was a decent neighborhood and it was close to where he was working at the time. So I could kind of see why he was there. Pretty good neighborhood, not too far from the hood, I guess you could say. But I mean, that's Phoenix for you. Suburb, hood. Upscale. Suburb, hood. Hood. It's kind of weird like that, spread out. Yeah, very awful. I think the theory that I'm leaning towards right now is he went to try to help somebody. Some tweaker, some crackhead. who was also appeared to be homeless, but really was just bouncing around all these hotels, living day to day with these little these drug gangs. And that's how it is out here in Phoenix. These tweakers and these druggies, they band together like thieves. They get together and they tally up at the end of the day. It's really weird. Thank you, Marsh. Did they uncover anything he may have gotten into? Not that I've seen. And all the information, I didn't see any discussion of drugs or anything like that. But he did appear to be a single person. So there could be maybe a catfish situation going on. Somebody that he was dating maybe lured him, misled him, but I'm not sure. His wallet, or not his wallet, but his credit cards and some cash were left at his home. So I'm not seeing signs of a robbery other than the fact that they took his vehicle. But let's go ahead and get started. Shadowbox says, my husband works with houseless people and it gets wild. Some people are ruthless and desperate. Yeah, some people are just criminals, they're just dysfunctional people in and out of prison. Not all homeless people, that's the case, right? Some people are just down on their luck. But the truth is, some people out there are extremely dangerous. They're dangerous for the other folks that are homeless. Tally up. Did I say tally up? I'm not sure. I can't remember the context. Not all homeless. Yeah, of course not. But to ignore the fact that there are dangers surrounding that I would never subscribe to that. You don't want to go around bashing the homeless folks, but we have to admit that there's a lot of drugs and violence that goes along with it. To ignore that would be reckless. Right. So let me grab this over here. I wish I could put this. Let me see if I can put this on repeat. Maybe I won't have to. Okay. Investigation discovery still a mystery. What the Trees knows follows the mysterious disappearance of murder of 41-year-old executive concierge manager Benjamin Anderson in Phoenix, Arizona in December of 2021. While the authorities found his burning body the same day he was reported missing, it took 3 days to identify the remains to be his. The episode tries to make sense of the suspicious and perplexing circumstances around Benjamin's death. How did Benjamin Anderson die? Benjamin Ben James Anderson was born in Bismarck, North Dakota on September 17th, 1980. He grew up in Glendale, Arizona, graduated from Centennial High School in 1999, and earned a Bachelor of Arts from Northern Arizona University. After college, Ben worked as a concierge manager at the Ritz-Carlton in Paradise Valley before serving as a personal assistant to a lovely couple for many years, traveling the world and making friends. He was an executive concierge manager at PricewaterhouseCoopers SC when he went missing in late 2021. New Year's Eve, to be exact. According to his coworkers, Ben thoroughly enjoyed being part of the team and cherished his relationships with his colleagues. One of his cousins, Lisa DeDepo, said, Ben had a big heart. He always wanted to be kind to people. That's why a billion scenarios are going through our heads about how and who he got mixed up with and how something horrible might have been done to him. His friends and family also described him as a benevolent and caring, wondering whether these traits led Ben to the perpetrators murdering him. That's kind of where I'm leaning right now at the time. I could change my mind. Ben's childhood friend Daniel Stahoviak revealed or recalled one particular incident that he stated was unforgettable, and it motivated him to be more like Ben. He reminisced how Ben and his friends were driving around when Ben noticed a homeless woman sitting alone on the curb in a parking lot. And adamant Ben forced his friends to drive over to the lady. Let me restart that. Okay, where was that? An adamant Ben forced his friends to drive over to the lady, bought her food, and ensured she was safe before bidding her goodnight. His college friend Susan Zapko laughed while recounting how they used to call Ben Big Daddy. She reminisced how she bonded with Ben while discussing Michael and Janet Jackson in their college accounting class in August of 2001. From then on, they became buddies and would power walk together, share once a year Big Mac meals, and jam to Kenny G in the car. She recalled Big Daddy could make us all feel like we were the most special person in the world and that we were all his best friend. But even when he was tired or in a bad mood, he would manage to shake it off and show up for us in the way that only he could. The 41-year-old was supposed to meet Daniel, his friend of 24 years, for breakfast at 9:30 a.m. on December 31st, 2021. However, Ben called Daniel to cancel their meeting at 8 a.m., citing fatigue. Daniel explained that it was not unusual since Ben had been up in northern Arizona visiting friends and had driven a lot. Approximately 2 minutes later, Daniel texted Ben about an issue related to his work. With him replying that it had been resolved, Daniel stated that was the last time he talked to his childhood friend. Ben about, oh, that's new. So he had an issue at work. I wonder what that was. Okay, we'll pause that right there. Catch up on the chat here. Good morning, Jamie. He may have been into shady stuff and hid it well. Just a thought. I'm not seeing anything about that. No good deed goes unpunished, I guess. No, exactly. Like you wish you could be very helpful, but the truth is, it's all about, it's all, every unknown scenario reminds me of the frog and the scorpion, right? Kevin, good to see you. I've always been drawn to cases that took place on holidays. Never heard about this one. Yeah, this one is awful. I just can't explain it. They talk about how there was a towel left on the bed, and he was very particular. He kept things a certain way, and he just wouldn't do that, according to his friends. So there's the issue at work. I wonder if he had an emergency, like, hey, get to work, or something happened there. But that wouldn't explain why there were other people driving around in his car unless if the killer knew him and killed him and dumped his vehicle, it is likely that other people completely separate from the incident stumbled upon the vehicle. Maybe the keys were in it and they just decided to drive it. But I doubt that. Why would they burn it later? So I'm telling you, it's just none of this makes any sense. Yeah, and I'm looking for any kind of signs that he might have been a party animal or anything like that. No, I don't see anything like that. We'll take a look. A lot of his friends were talking with local media, so we'll get to learn a little bit about them. Okay, let me finish up this article here. Ben's Aunt Susan phoned Daniel around 6 p.m. and stated she had not heard from him, even though he had promised to come to her apartment. A concerned Daniel tried texting his friend, but found his phone was switched off. As he was preparing to go over to his apartment, Ben's other friend Susan also called Daniel, stating that he was not responding to her calls and that they went straight to voicemail. When Daniel arrived at Ben's apartment, much was amiss, including the lights being turned on and his 2020 white Lexus UX gone. Daniel also found money on the counter and Ben's credit cards in a small bowl by the front door. The rooms were untidy, with clothes lying on the kitchen floor, highly uncharacteristic of Ben. However, the most concerning sign was the information on Ben's Find My Phone app. His iPhone showed that the last location was at the apartment before 9 a.m. on December 31st, 9 a.m. on December 31st. Daniel explained he never turned off his phone. So the fact that his phone hasn't been pinged since and isn't broadcasting any signal since is highly unusual. He started calling, but no colleagues or acquaintances had heard from him. He also reported Ben missing to Phoenix Police Department at around 7:30 p.m. Some of Ben's friends contacted Lexus for the automobile company to trigger its active tracking measure. So these guys they're doing it. So these guys are on it. They did everything that they could, and I still don't feel like they got the action that was needed here in Ben's case. I feel like maybe if they would have acted quickly, they might have been able to prevent this murder. Put out an APB on the vehicle. Um, I'm not sure. While Lexus refused to disclose the car's location initially, the company eventually relented and stated it was near Interstate 17, Black Canyon Highway. An officer went to the Super 8 by Wyndham off of I-17 and Northern Avenue. And we're going to take a closer look at all of these locations later on in the live stream. We're going to go over that in detail, get an idea of where he was going and where all these locations are in proximity to each other. So the Super 8 off of Wyndham and I-17, that's the last recorded location, but found nothing. Ben's friends decided to keep looking at hotels in the area and drove to the Sheraton, which is right up the street from that location, right across one busy street. They found 3 individuals, including a man and a woman, sitting in Ben's car on the 4th level of the parking garage. However, they drove away before the friends could call 911, and the vehicle was found in the UEI College parking lot, badly burnt and destroyed around 4 a.m. on January 1st. The authorities announced a $10,000 reward for any information regarding Ben's disappearance. According to police sources, Ben was last seen near his 7th Street and Maryland Avenue apartment, and the UEI College parking lot was about 5 miles away. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office found an unidentified burning body in the desert near Table Mesa Road west of Interstate 17 at about 1:40 p.m. on December 31st. The crime scene was around 30 miles north of where his burning vehicle was discovered. A man had been practicing shooting in the area and called 911 after seeing the smoke. The authorities identified it as Ben's through DNA and dental records on January 3rd after police liaised with the sheriff's office. A teary-eyed Daniel recollected, the detective said, "You do not want to see this body. It's unrecognizable." Ben's friends and family allege the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office refuses to provide updates on the case and has not revealed any more details on where the investigation stands, even after more than a year. So that's tragic. I don't know. We're going to give it a try. I'm going to reach out to the Maricopa County office today and just ask them for the most recent media release at least, right? And then if they can add to anything. Okay, so I did grab a couple videos, local media reports. Let's take a look.
Disappearance and death of a Phoenix man on New Year's Eve.
His burned body was found in the desert, his car set on fire in a parking lot. And tonight we are hearing the newly released 911 phone calls and early details of the investigation. True Crime Arizona's Brianna Whitney is here. It's a pretty bizarre case.
Oh my gosh, there's still so many answers we just don't have. A lot of missing pieces here. In a matter of hours, Benjamin Anderson went from talking to his friends and family, making plans for New Year's Eve that night, to his body found burning in the desert. But the nature of how he was found is now being revealed. The 911 caller and authorities confused at the time if they were looking at a burning human or a mannequin.
Sensei, good to see you. Any CCTV at the parking lot? Not that I know. I've been looking. I don't know if investigators have that, but I have a feeling that once they took, I'm not sure if the perpetrators were ever at Ben's home. I don't know if they were there. I don't know if they showered at his home. I don't know if he showered in a hurry. I don't know if he left and was taken. But it all happened right around his home. He works right there. The motel, the Super 8, is right up the street. Where they found his vehicle is right up the street from the Super 8 motel. And then if you just follow that highway north, you end up out in the middle of the desert where they found his body eventually.
Not sure if it's a body or mannequin, but it looks like a body to me.
Just after 1:30 p.m. on New Year's
Me
Eve,
too, Shadow.
a man out in the desert sees smoke.
I have that here on my list. Why did he change his plans? You know, was he catfished that morning? Did something happen at work where he knew it was going to take all day and that somehow led to his murder? Was he catfished? I'm not sure exactly yet. Honestly, I don't have a clue with this one.
And calls 911.
I saw the smoke, and I thought to go look, and it looks like a body.
It's on fire right now?
Yes, it's on fire, and there's a fire. It's getting wider.
What they thought might be a mannequin was actually the body of then missing Central Phoenix man Benjamin Anderson.
I believe somebody found him very quickly, and I think that in the long run will be helpful.
Daniel Stahoviak was Ben's best friend of 25 years and was part of R. They chased them for some time before giving up, and hours later, Ben's friends found his car burned in a school parking lot. Unknown to his friends at the time, Ben's body had already been found off the I-17 and Table Mesa Road. According to the newly released police report, the officer wrote he saw what appeared to be blood coming from the head and blood marks on the side of the wall of the wash, writing, "I thought possibly the body had either fallen down into the wash from the ledge or was tossed down into the wash, rolling down the side wall."
You know, knowing that there was a body there and then knowing the condition.
That's his friend Daniel that we were talking about. This is the guy who he canceled plans with him and said, "Hey, I'm going to go to bed because I'm tired." I guess he was traveling. Sound like he was going up north. Usually that's like Flagstaff, things like that. It's a good 2-3 hour drive. So if he was traveling, you know, it would make sense. Hey, I'm not going to go get breakfast. I'm going to sleep in.
Was in. I think it's hard.
The officer also wrote the body had, quote, some clothing around the legs below the butt area, and there were a pair of socks on its feet.
Did you see any vehicles or anything around it?
No, I looked around. There was nothing.
No people were reported near or around the body. Daniel says he spoke to Ben.
So the guy who reported it was driving up there, didn't see anybody leaving as he was coming, but yet there were still flames, right? So what that sounds like to me is that they pushed him down this ravine and dumped gasoline on top of him. That's what I'm thinking happened. And saved a little bit of the gasoline for when they're going to go burn the vehicle.
At 8 a.m. that morning, and Ben spoke to family around 9:30 a.m. His body was found burning miles away from his home just 4 hours later.
You know, we're talking a matter of just a couple of hours that he was found burning in the desert, in well almost to the county line. So it's so hard to fathom what happened that quick.
Yeah, there are still a lot of unknowns, clearly. We don't know who those people were inside Ben's car the day after he died. We don't know how he got to the desert, and we don't know who may have been targeting him and why. I asked the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office for any updates in this case, if they have any possible leads or persons of interest, but I did not get a response back tonight, guys.
And you said there were several calls of mannequins on fire. Why would people think it was a mannequin?
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't tell if that was an actual body, but in those 911 calls when I was listening, the dispatcher says they had gotten calls for mannequins a couple weeks before that. So I don't know if that's a problem in the area, unrelated, but that might have played into it. But I mean, the whole case is strange.
Bizarre, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird one for sure. Brianna, thank you.
Very strange. Here, we'll just knock these ones out.
A tragic end, and detectives have a murder mystery on their hands. A body found in the desert up in the New River area has been identified as Benjamin Anderson, who was reported missing on New Year's Eve.
His car
It's north
was
of
found
Phoenix,
burned
Arizona.
off the I-17 and Dunlap, and detectives are calling his death a homicide. Kim Powell has been covering this for us and is live with the very latest near 7th Street and Glendale. Kim.
Yeah, MCSO detectives got here around 1 o'clock this afternoon, and they were inside Benjamin Anderson's apartment for a couple of hours after they got a warrant.
It's like a duplex.
Friends told us over the weekend that what they found in Benjamin's apartment seemed a little
Shadowbox, have they said if he was gay? No, they haven't said that. I haven't seen it discussed publicly, but to me, it's obvious.
off.
It appeared that he sort of left in a hurry.
Daniel Stahoviak is a close friend
Pretty
of
sure
Benjamin
Daniel's gay,
Anderson, who was reported missing on New Year's Eve. He spoke with us over the weekend. He says after not hearing from his friend, Daniel went to his apartment
Could
to
have been a
check
hate
on
crime.
him.
Doors were locked first.
Or maybe some closeted case. Didn't want any truth to come out. Maybe somebody at his job. Maybe the people who were, well, see, the thing is, the people, I keep wondering if maybe the people that were spotted in his vehicle just picked up the vehicle somewhere along the way, but they would have just dumped it. They wouldn't have burned it. So I believe that whoever was spotted in that vehicle, I think, is the suspects. So this could have been some kind of a catfishing situation.
There was cash on the counter. He wasn't there. You know, I think what struck us a little bit was that there was a wet towel on his bed.
He also said Benjamin's credit
Wet towel on the bed. So if he had an issue at work, maybe he left in a hurry, took care of his business, and then on the way home encountered somebody else who he maybe gave a ride to, and then they attacked him in the vehicle or something. Maybe they just wanted the vehicle. You know, a lot of times these criminals, they need a vehicle. They'll go commit armed robberies, thefts, and them thinking, hey, this guy, we killed him and we dumped him out in the desert. We have a car for a good 2 days. You know, as soon as we see that we feel like somebody's on our tail, we'll burn it. So honestly, I wouldn't put it past the suspects if they committed other crimes during this period. I'm talking beer runs, armed robberies, smash and grabs, maybe petty thefts or thefts from residents, you know, using the car.
cards and cash were left behind, but his car was gone. After tracking the vehicle through Lexus, Daniel and his friends found it in a
Sensei says, could these journeys have been done without having to stop for fuel? No, I think at some point, not only did they stop for fuel, but they fueled up a gas tank. Not a gas tank, but a, what do you call those things? Gas jug, I guess. I'm not sure what that's called. But I feel like they, you know, filled up a container filled with gas, used that to burn him, and then also to burn the vehicle. So there's got to be some kind of footage. They got to have a suspect, I think. And they're not releasing any information to anybody. So that also makes me a little suspicious.
parking garage at a hotel along I-17. They said 3 people were inside. They followed it, but then lost it. When they found it later on,
Marsh says buying drugs from them maybe, and they took him. Yeah, it could be possible. New Year's Day, like, hey, I need to score something, for the night. We're gonna have a great night. So I don't know. Maybe the friends aren't giving all the information. Maybe they kind of had an idea like who these guys were and how dangerous they were. But I'm not sure yet about that.
it was charred and gutted in a parking lot. And just hours later, detectives say they found Benjamin's body in the desert near
Sean.
New River.
He seemed like a nice person. I'd say hello, and he would say hello, and that was it.
Benjamin's neighbors in Phoenix don't recall seeing anything out of the ordinary. But now, detectives are going through his apartment, looking for any evidence that could point them in the right direction.
More quiet neighborhood, so
Could be Sean.
not usually. There's not usually too much action over here.
What's up, Unsolved?
Now, MCSO hasn't released much information about this homicide. However, no arrests have been made. If you have any information, you're asked to call the sheriff's office.
Okay, let's go back to Sean. So it sounds like he was carjacked and murdered. Yeah, I just don't know. They're saying like he would never leave a wet towel just laying on his bed. Why did he leave in such a hurry? Was somebody knocking on his door maybe? He's in the shower. He hears bomb, 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 bomb. Puts on the towel. But I don't know. You feel like somebody would have seen him being taken out of his home. So I feel like he left his home in a hurry. But according to his friend Daniel, his phone basically went dark about an hour after he canceled plans. So he cancels plans and then his phone is just off. Any sophisticated criminal knows either, you're using burner phones. So it'd be hard for law enforcement to track cell phones going to and from all of these locations. I'm sure they could single out certain phones, right? But I'm sure they were using burner phones, and they knew to shut off and probably get rid of Ben's phone. So I think we're dealing with career criminals that live right in that area. And I believe, somebody who's chasing drugs, who may have the appearance of homeless, rough and rugged. There was a report of a female that was with two other people in his car, a blonde wearing a pink hoodie. So you send the female out looking all, distressed. And then when you lure in somebody like Ben, the nice guy, from the opposite side comes the creep with the pistol in your face. And I believe he had a gun because the location where the body was found and burned is most likely familiar to that person. And the reason it's familiar to him is because that person goes out there to target practice. So I believe the killer of Ben is somebody who is also familiar with Table Mesa Road, where people go four-wheeling and also target practice or target shooting. So I think we're dealing with the career criminal who knows that area well. Good to see you, Unsolved. Shadow says, sounds like he had a date possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure. What would cause you to change your plans with friends? Some kind of a date or an emergency? So I'm not sure. I'm telling you, this is a mystery that's going to melt your brain. Mar R, did he get robbed too? So I don't know if he took out cash, but his credit cards were left on the counter along with some cash. So that just, even if he was in an emergency, wouldn't he have grabbed his credit cards and his cash? Or was he in such a hurry that he was leaving and coming back? Hey, what's up, Frank Meister? Yeah, I'm doing well, Sean. Thank you. Saska, good to see you. I don't know. I had that same question. I wonder if he was catfished because when he was tracked, it went right back to the Super 8 motel. That could have been where they uh, came up with this plan to catfish people and rob them and lure them. So I don't know if he was dating. I think he was single. What's better? And to me, New Year's was always one of those days where you had to have a date because you know what happens on New Year's when it turns New Year's, right? The ball drops. You need somebody to kiss. It's kind of like mistletoe. So it's one of those days, it's nice to have a date. So maybe he was desperate for a date, online dating. Instead of getting a date, he gets catfished and robbed. Or it could have something to do with whatever was going on at work. Maybe he was dating somebody there secretly, somebody that works at that location who is also familiar with the Table Mesa area, whether it's for four-wheeling or for target shooting.
Remote as you can get. Have you been back here since?
All right, this is an interview with True Crime Arizona's host. Can't remember her name. She's pretty good though. She was in the first video we played. This is the guy who called 911. And you guys, that happens often. A lot of the crimes that we cover, even another case that we covered out of Phoenix, of those two missing teenagers who were eventually found in the water when they were originally reported. The caller had mentioned something like a mannequin. So it's often, your brain, you see a body and you're just like, well, there's just no way that that's an actual body, right? So your brain is like, well, maybe it's a mannequin. Especially when you go out to these target shooting places, every once in a while, somebody will bring a mannequin or something like that out there and they'll shoot it. You'll see stuff like that out there. Not often, but I think the brain just doesn't want to accept the fact that what you're looking at is a human person.
Completely burned.
Jerry, good point. Jerry says it sounds like he was in a big hurry, had his friends for years, and it seems unlikely he would change plans like that. Kind of sounds like he was lured out. Yeah, let's go back to Sean's comment. If he was tired, may have gotten up, take a shower, then went out to his car to meet with friends and then was attacked. See, that kind of does make sense. Or what if he was telling somebody that he was going out on a date and that he was getting ready to jump in the shower and these people just took that opportunity to kind of, I mean, yeah, he had to have been lured out. Just doesn't make any sense. What's up, Sparky? Super strange case. Did they ever find out who the third individuals were that had his car? No, but in an article that we're going to read here a little bit later on, they gave a description. They didn't get a good look at the third person, but they knew one appeared to be maybe possibly Hispanic, average height. So I'm thinking that's like around 5'8", 5'8"-ish, and was with a woman, blonde hair, wearing a pink hoodie. So it sounds like a group of druggies who may have set him up or lured him out. And if he's the kind of person that's making friends with these kind of people who are just out on the streets like that, maybe he made a contact with somebody, the girl, the guy, whatever. So I'm a little bit curious of what's going on with his phone. Cancel plans for hookup. Yeah, I was kind of getting that catfish vibe too. Like the whole Ray Hainish case. But when they found him, I don't know if he was sexually assaulted or not. They said his pants were down past his buttocks. So I don't know if that is indicative of a sexual assault. So maybe he was on a date, let's go out here, we'll be alone. Never made it out of there. But I doubt it. I don't know what the hell is going on. Honestly, I can't put my finger on it. So where is the cliff in that clip? I thought it looked like thrown off a cliff. Let me go back. So that would be the cliff there. It's not really a cliff, more of like a ravine. So they believe he was pushed off the edge here. And then once he was down there, I think they just dumped gas on him.
And eventually, his people inside.
Sean, they killed him in the car and burned the car to cover evidence. Yeah, it could be. They could have killed him there. I don't know if they strangled him, beat him. Not sure. There's a good view. So it's not really a cliff, more like a 20-foot. Yeah, I guess 20-foot cliff right there. It is a cliff by definition.
It's the eeriest part.
Okay, so if the fire was still burning and this is around 1:30, he didn't see anybody coming or going. That means they were already on the highway before he turned in. So they must have been in there like around from anywhere between 1 o'clock and 1:10. So he just missed them, in my opinion.
Art. Do you
All right, because of time, we'll go to one more video, and then we'll start going over.
Following this case for the last year, so where is this investigation now tonight?
I mean, this is one of the craziest cases I think I've covered doing true crime, and authorities have remained pretty tight-lipped about updates on the case. But over the course of the year, we've gotten pieces of new information that help piece together the puzzle of a timeline leading to Ben's body being found. Now his friends say it's a matter of time before an arrest is made, and they're confident in saying they believe this was a targeted attack.
When the clock struck midnight to ring in 2022, Dan Stachowiak turned to his friends.
I remember saying to everybody in the car, Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's extremely sad.
What the hell are we doing?
This group of friends called 41-year-old Benjamin Anderson one of the best people they knew. When he seemingly disappeared on New Year's Eve last year, they immediately went searching along with law enforcement and tracked his car's navigation first to a Super 8 off I-17.
Okay, so this is information that we've already covered. Let's go right into the timeline and let's cover these locations here. I did a pretty good job of tracking them all down. Okay, let's go to some street view here. This is previously recorded. So this is basically near Ben's home. This is the major intersection. What's up, CJK? Good to see you, Doris Brockman. Welcome. Okay, so I think I'm going to punch in the Super 8 address now. Now, the Super 8 motel is where Lexus was able to ping the phone, or the car, I'm sorry. And they relayed that information to the sheriff's department. And they gave that information over to Ben's friends. So that is this location here. Now, this is a very crime-infested area here. Now, you have a lot of these locations where you have these shitty, rundown, old motels. But what happens is these drug abusers, druggies, and prostitutes and pimps, they take over these hotels and they just bounce back and forth to all these rundown hotels doing crime in the local area. It's that way throughout all of the Metropolitan Valley area. You'll have these little locations like this here, the Super 8. Now, if you read the reviews on this, there's no turn down service at this location. If you look at the images, every hotel room is filled with graffiti, broken mirrors, broken televisions. Almost every door in every image that you can find here on Google Maps, every door has been kicked in. So I don't recommend the Super 8 out there in Glendale. So they tracked the last time they were able to ping the vehicle location was right here. And the location where his vehicle was found is about a mile away across the another major street just north of here. So let's go ahead and punch that address in. So if you see here, this is the 17 freeway. You're going to take this north, and the location is just about a mile up here across West Dunlap Avenue. Okay, now this is the Sheraton Hotel. This is a luxury, very high upscale hotel. Now, after going to check out the Super 8, Ben's friends kind of drove around and they were looking at all the other hotels in the area. And they decided to drive through the parking garage of the Sheraton right here to the right. And this is when they discovered Ben's vehicle. Right here in this parking garage up at the 4th floor here. Now, there was 3 people standing in and around the vehicle. This is about a mile, maybe less than a mile away from the Super 8. I would say about a mile away. And there's the UEI College. The vehicle would later be found burned in that parking lot in the back. In that back corner there. And the one thing all these locations have in common is they're right near where Ben lives and where he works. So I believe this is an anchor point for the suspects. So I believe they live in the area or were living in the area at the time. And when I recorded this, I was trying to figure out where the vehicle was, because there was a local pedestrian who caught some footage of the car burning, and we'll take a look at that. But it was back there near these dumpsters. Yeah, so right here to the left, parking spot number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here is where the vehicle was spotted. And the person who took the footage was standing somewhere over here. Or maybe even way back here at this building and zooming in. Because you can see these trees and these dumpsters right here in their footage. I think I got one of the Table Mesa Road too. Let's take a look. So this is kind of will give you an idea of how desolate it is out here. Now, Table Mesa Road is known, it's a famous Jeep trail. Like when you get your first Jeep, and you live in that area, you go there. I've never been in this area. I don't go over here. I go more towards Four Peaks, but it's very similar to this area. Phoenix has a lot of areas like this just outside of town where people go target shooting, off-roading. And another interesting thing, though, if he just came back from going up north, I wonder if he made some contacts up there. Because the 17 highway, this is where you would go to go up north, Flagstaff. So the same direction that he would have taken on his vacation or visiting friends is the same road that the killer took to go dump him. So I don't know if there's any connection there. But honestly, if anybody was living near Ben at the time, this is where they would go to go target shooting. So I do believe we're dealing with some young, I'm going to say anywhere between 25, 35 drug addicts, most likely not their first time committing a murder or a violent assault or robbery. I mean, think about it. He was abducted around 9 a.m. and the body was already dumped and burned. And the car was in flames by the time 24 hours had passed. That's what I'm doing right now, Chopper. That was I didn't get anywhere by the time we went live, but that's what I was doing. I was looking for crimes in the area around that time. Okay, so this is the path that the suspects took. Now, actually, this is not very accurate. It's more like up here, but he works somewhere down here. So I believe he left his home and went to work first. So you have his job, his home, the Super 8 motel where they pinged his vehicle, and then the Sheraton parking lot where they discovered him are the people that were in his vehicle. And then later on, that's the same location where the vehicle would be burned. So this is an anchor point here. This Super 8 motel is an anchor point. You burn the vehicle so that you don't have to walk far, but far enough to where people aren't going to be able to see you go into a building. You burn it a mile away. What were they doing hanging out in that parking lot anyway? They were doing drug activity and planning their next, some type of criminal activity. That's what those folks do. Every day is a day to hustle. Make sure you got money for the hotel and your drugs. Nothing else matters. Okay, I put this map together here. Give you kind of an idea. Hey, what's up, Cindy? So, I mean, this is all pretty close by. Super 8 motel. So the friends basically drove after checking out Ben's home and learning that the vehicle had been tracked to the Super 8. They drove here, found nothing, and decided to kind of drive around all these other hotels right here. And there's a whole bunch in the area. So they drove up here and they found the vehicle and 3 people in and around the vehicle. So the same location where they found these folks, later on they would find the vehicle burned. And I think there was some light bulbs that he had just purchased somewhere down here on the floor. And his duffel bag was somewhere in the vehicle. I mean, there's got to be some kind of footage, right? I don't think I know this case. Looking forward to catching up. Yeah, this is a crazy one. It's a big piece of this puzzle that's missing. "41 years old, 6'1", 250 pounds, light brown hair, brown eyes. Last seen at his home, December 31st. Car found burnt. So they must have put this together before they discovered his body. Or were aware of it. All right, let's go through this timeline here. So 8 a.m. on December 31st, friends of Ben said they had plans to go to breakfast at 9:30 a.m. on New Year's Eve morning. 8 a.m., Ben called me and had canceled. Daniel Stahoviak, a close friend of Anderson, said. Stahoviak said Anderson said he was tired, which Stahoviak said wasn't surprising given he'd been driving and visiting friends the day before. Nothing was unusual, Stahoviak said. I wonder if he picked up a hitchhiker or something or made a friend in up north or something. Did he bring somebody home with him? At 1:40 p.m., December 31st, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office said their call for service to a body found in the desert was initiated at 1:40 p.m. So that means that he was probably dumped by 1 p.m. out there. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office said the body of Anderson was found in the desert near I-17 and Table Mesa Road. We took a look over there. At 6:30 p.m., December 31st, friends and family did not know that law enforcement had found Anderson's body on New Year's Eve. And Stahoviak said they started to notice Anderson hadn't contacted him since 6:30 p.m. Stahoviak said he went to Anderson's home near 7th Street and Maryland Avenue at that time to try and see if he could find him. His car was gone when I got there, Stahoviak said. Stahoviak said credit cards and cash were left on the counter with laundry strewn about the condo. That's weird. I guess what struck me the most was there was a wet towel on his bed, Stahoviak said. Ben is very clean and tidy in his home, and he would never do something like that. Yeah, something's going on with that towel. That is trying to tell us something. I just don't know what it is. Saska says that's possible. He brought someone home. Would explain the towel if it was somebody else using it. Yeah, what if somebody showered in his home? What if he was already dead? They came back, used his place, and then took off in his car back to the Motel 8. But I don't understand why they wouldn't take the credit cards and the cash. Maybe they have a good reason for that. Oh yeah, Chopper Phoenix is crazy. Yeah. Rough city to grow up in, I'll tell you that. Let's just say I've been shot at a few times. Just a few. By 7:30 p.m., December 31st, friends and family had reported Anderson missing to the Phoenix Police Department. Stahoviak said they also had called Lexus, the maker of Anderson's car, to see if they could GPS track the car. They could see the location, but they wouldn't give it to us, Stahoviak said. Stahoviak said Phoenix police, who were given the information by Lexus, went to a Super 8 motel off of I-17 south of Dunlap, Arizona. The police officers called us. The vehicle was there, Stahoviak said. It had already moved. Stahoviak said a carload of people went to the Super 8 using the car. All we knew is he was somewhere near Black Canyon Highway and most businesses are closed. But there's hotels, so we thought, let's just drive through hotels, Stahoviak said. So Daniel's very intuitive. So it's one thing I'm noticing. 12:20 a.m., January 1st. So middle of the morning. Pitch black outside. 20 minutes into the New Year's, Stahoviak said they went through the garage at Sheraton Phoenix Crescent near Dunlap Avenue and I-17. So imagine spending your New Year's searching for your lost friend. And you just know in the pit of your stomach something is wrong. Stahoviak said when they got to the 4th floor of the parking garage, they spotted Anderson's car. There was his car, backed into a spot. 3 people around it. Ben wasn't with them, Stahoviak said. Stahoviak said they followed the car out of the garage, down the frontage road, and into a parking lot. They came back out, turned left, going the wrong way on the frontage road, Stahoviak said. Obviously, it's now becoming very dangerous, so we stopped. After calling 911, Stahoviak said police came to try and find the car but didn't have any luck. Stahoviak said they then went back to Anderson's condo to see if there were any more clues, while also calling Lexus back to see if they could get any more information. Lexus then told them after begging that the vehicle was now offline, Stahoviak said. Offline meaning it is most likely burned. 4 a.m. January 1st, around 4 a.m. on New Year's Day, Stahoviak said they discovered the Lexus in the parking lot of UEI College, which is adjacent to the Sheraton, where they found the car originally. His car was found here destroyed, burnt, Stahoviak said. Stahoviak said Anderson's duffel bag and lights he purchased were still in the back of the vehicle. January 3rd. Sheriff's office did not release that the body was Anderson's until Monday, January 3rd. The homicide unit is investigating Anderson's death, but hasn't answered 12 News' question if Anderson's death has been ruled a homicide. It is officially a homicide. Stahoviak said that neither he nor the other friends that found the car recognized the 3 people they said were with it at the Sheraton. Anderson's body was found 30 miles away, which leaves questions unanswered as to what happened that led to Anderson's being found dead. 12 News asked both Phoenix Police and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office for more details, but neither agency answered questions relating to the timeline of the case or where the investigation stands. So they're being very tight-lipped. I wonder why. Sensei says, do they know for sure he was at home when he said he wasn't going to meet his friend? Friends had key to property, or was the door unlocked? I think they have a key. I think they had a key to the property. That's what I was wondering, Cindy. Is there DNA on the towel? Maybe they took something else they deemed important. I have a feeling it was just the car they needed. You know, maybe they had money. Okay, let me pull up Google Maps. That's pretty much all the facts, guys. So I figure we'll spend the next 15 minutes kind of talking about what you think might have happened, going over these details. We're going to go through each one of these locations that we went through on the timeline. We're going to try to make sense of this here. I went ahead and included all of these map locations in the description if you guys wanted to do your own digging. But I think we'll start with Ben's home here. Sean, attackers went to the Sheraton higher end hotel with the Lexus as to not draw attention to themselves. Interesting. See, now you're thinking like a criminal. That makes a lot of sense. But I also know that there's issues with that Sheraton going on right now. I think it's even closed down. So maybe they even knew that. And also, Ben worked, I believe he worked with another hotel. So I don't know if that's another connection there. Saska, bizarre, no one was interested in the cash. Makes me think a hate crime or likely date gone wrong. That's what I'm thinking too. And might as well just keep the car, right? We'll get rid of it in a day or two. It's almost as if they suspected that Ben wouldn't be communicating or expected. I'll go to the street view here. Interesting six-wheeled vehicle. This car was parked here also when the news was reporting out front. Same vehicle. I wonder if it's this old lady here. I believe that is his apartment there, apartment 9. So here's 7th Street. You would drive out, and then you would head this direction. So you're looking at 4.3 miles from Ben's home to where the vehicle was tracked. And we already pretty much looked over here with that other video. Yeah, I can't figure this one out, Jerry. Sensei says maybe somebody was with him when he made the call to his friend canceling, so they knew they had some time before suspicions would be raised. That's what I'm thinking. Whoever did this knew what was going on with Ben throughout the day. They had an idea that it would be okay to drive around with that vehicle for at least a day. Okay, now car would be found right across this major road here. Whoops, sorry. It's taking too long. Right here, Dunlap Avenue. That's the Sheraton there. Yeah, there's not much going on here. All right, guys, we are winding down. I know I'm missing something. Oh, okay. So this was somebody that was able to catch the burning vehicle on tape. Sensei, I don't know. I couldn't find. I was looking for any information on what was going on with this phone. Not sure if it was found or not. Who's going to pay attention to a vehicle? There are millions of them on the road nowadays. Criminals are very bold. Yeah, what's strange is these criminals were kind of they were anchored to a certain location. It's almost like it wasn't hard to find them. I bet you it wouldn't be hard to go back to that area and find possibly that same person. Well, maybe not now because it's been a few years, but looks like there is a GoFundMe if you want to go ahead and contribute to the reward fund. Link is in the description. Here, if you have any information that might help with the case, 602-876-TIPS. There's the case number there. And here in Arizona, well, Maricopa County, you can look up the coroner's report. So I don't know if we're able to do that now. I can try. When I was looking into this Fetlali Avalar and Cameron Myers case, I made a connection there in the Maricopa County Department and gave me some pretty helpful tools here. I just got to find it. Might have to save that for another time. Looks like I'm running out of time here. Yeah. Can't seem to find it. Sorry, guys. Who took the video of the burning car? An arsonist would document his crime. No, this was somebody who turned it into police. It was somebody who was working nearby. I think they even reported the vehicle and then filmed it as they were putting it out. All right, guys. If you could hit the like button on the way out, replay crew. Let me know what you thought about today's live stream about Ben Anderson's case, what you think, possibilities, theories, information that you might have on the case. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate your participation in the chat. But I think you might be the closest so far. I think somebody took advantage of Ben's kind-heartedness. Somebody depraved, addicted to drugs, addicted to the street life. Most likely not their first time. Hey, Mitzi. Thank you, Sean. Hopefully they can get some justice in Ben's case. I mean, I believe the killers are right here. Somewhere in this area. I believe they're in this area, and when they want to go test their weapons and whatever, they come right here. They shoot, and then they come back into the city. Thank you, Sensei. Shadow, you have a great day as well. Thank you. Catch you on the flip side. Sean, love to meet you at Delphi someday if you could make the trip. Oh, I'm going to make the trip. I don't know if I'll announce it because that's all I need is a bunch of stress. But maybe we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. What's up, Lynn? A new case number in Delphi. Please see about what they are trying to do. They're trying to, the Supreme Court is looking into possibly reinstating Rosie and Baldwin. That way there's no delay in the case, which would be great. It wouldn't be good for Richard Allen or the case overall, but I think it'd be good to not have a delay in the trial. I just think that there's another defense team in the Delphi case that could do better for Richard Allen if he is potentially innocent. I would hate to see them go forward with that Odinism stuff. Have a great day, CJK. Yeah, and Lynn, we might get together a little bit later, talk about Delphi. There is a lot going on the my case. But anybody who is part of the replay crew, if you have any ideas of what you think might have happened with Ben's case, go ahead and punch it in there. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. And if you are subscribed, consider becoming a member. We get together most every Wednesday. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Sparky. And once again, everybody, if you need the tip information, it is in the description. If you want to help with the GoFundMe, in the description. If you want to follow up with anything that we covered, it will be in the description. All the addresses and everything as well if you want to follow up. Sketchy ass Super 8 motel. Yeah, I wish I lived in like driving distance or something. Good to see you, Lynn. All right, guys, that is going to do it. I want to thank everybody who was able to catch the live stream. Shout out to my members, subscribers, and everybody who supports my channel. And I want to welcome Speculation Station back to members. We will see you very soon. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great Monday. Peace.